Hello, everyone. This is Esther Kane with SeniorSafetyAdvice.com. Thank you so much for joining our YouTube channel. Um, Last month, I did a video on signs to look out for that indicate it may be a good idea to stop driving. And I talked about my own limitations that I put on myself. I don't drive at night. I don't drive in the rain, simply because of the glaucoma and just aging. I am having trouble with some vision, so I stopped myself from driving during those times. So I thought this video, I would talk about things that you can do to help someone if they are indeed a danger to driving. They shouldn't be driving anymore. And this could be for a number of reasons. It could be, for dementia. It could be because they're just not wanting to give up driving. I mean, my mom-in-law drove until she was 100, and she should have stopped probably at 90, but she didn't, and you know, being my mom-in-law and not my actual mom, I can only say so much. But anyway, the point is, if you want to try to help someone, be it a family member, a friend, another loved one, here are some tips that you can do that may help. Can't guarantee, but they may help. The very first tip is you want to choose a calm time to talk about it. You want to have a conversation, um, preferably with more than just you and the other person. It's always better to have several people, sort of like a little mini intervention kind of thing, but not confrontational. You want it to be calm, and you want to bring up the idea that maybe you noticed something or something else. I read a phrase the other day where someone said, would you want your grandchildren in the car with you, or would you want your grandchildren in the car with that other person? And if the answer is no, well, then it may be time to take steps to either stop driving or at least to limit driving to specific times or places. You want to prepare, tip two, you want to prepare for multiple conversations. This is not going to happen in one conversation. It's going to take some time. So you want to reiterate it, repeat it in several different ways, several different times. It's only going to just take a little bit of time. You want to avoid yelling. You don't want it to, like I said, you don't want it to be confrontational. You don't want it to escalate to a point where, it just becomes an argument. You don't want that. Nothing is ever going to get done that way. You want to use gentle phrasing. Instead of saying, stop driving, you can say, think about retiring from driving, or think about, limiting the driving. Anything that you can think of to say that is not, absolute, because that can be quite frightening. I know when my mother needed to stop driving, we did that, and it worked very well. We gave her the time to think about it. It took a few months, but after a while, she realized that it really was time to stop, and she did quite easily. It was a nice, smooth transition. You want to listen to what they have to say, listen to their concerns, because they're afraid of losing their independence. Of course, that's number one thing usually. They're afraid that they're getting so old and feeble that they can't even drive themselves. They're afraid of not being able to go, where they need to go when they want to go. It's a change, and change is very difficult. And the older you are, the more difficult it is. So listen to them, ask them, and try to figure out ways to alleviate those fears. Again, having another person or persons with you can really help to, to come up with solutions and ideas. And it's not just you where they may perceive you as attacking them. Number 6, I haven't been numbering them. Number 6, you want to highlight pros and cons. You want to help them see the benefits of not driving, like saving on insurance, not having to take care of the car anymore, not, avoiding possibly injuring not only themselves, but God forbid, someone else. What if a child or a pet? Um, you want to bring that up, but gently. You don't want to say, you're going to have an accident. That may not be the case. It's possibly that you could have an accident. What would you do? How would you think of yourself? How would you be able to live with yourself if you injured a child? Um, Suggest alternatives. You always want to have alternatives. I myself love Uber and Lyft. I use them a lot. And those are the ways. If you have family members around who are always there, you know that, Aunt Judy goes to the grocery store every Tuesday, then maybe you can hook up with her and go to the grocery store with her every Tuesday, as long as you like Aunt Judy, I guess. Anything like that, any type of alternative solutions to make up for the fact that they would not be driving at all or as much. And honestly, you want to give them time. Like I said, it took us a few months to get my mother to get to that point where she was comfortable with it. But you want to give them the time to be able to think about it, and process it. If they're able to, of course, if they have dementia or Alzheimer's, they're certainly not going to be able to do that, especially if they're in the later stages. Okay, some other tips are if it's possible to get them to participate in an independent driving evaluation. There are occupational therapists out there who are certified as driving instructors, and they can look for specific issues with older adults. So I would recommend, if they are um, amenable to do that, that would be wonderful. Of course, I don't expect that. We certainly couldn't get my mother to do that, but it's an idea if it's possible to do that. If it's someone who's absolutely insistent on driving and they are having a difficult time, especially dementia, Alzheimer's, you know that they're a danger. You can do things like you hide items related to driving. You can hide the keys or any items associated with driving. Of course, you can redirect them. If they're talking about, okay, I need to go to the grocery store, and you can say, oh, you know what? We still have some tomatoes in the refrigerator. Let's use them up. Let's make something with them. Redirect them to something else that may be related to what they're thinking about. Maybe they're thinking about going to the grocery store to get something for lunch, something like that, to get them out of thinking about driving. You can obviously report them to the DMV. That's usually something a lot of family members and friends don't want to do. But if they truly are a danger to themselves and others, then you have to do that. It's a little tough love, but it's important to do that just to keep them from being harmed, and others also. You can certainly have another driver in the car with them if they're willing to do that. That doesn't really solve the issue of problem with driving, but it may alleviate some issues as far as getting lost or turning into the wrong lane. Um, or if they hit the gas instead of the brake, well, that may be, there's nothing that other driver can do. Uh, there's a lot of little issues that they may help, but if it's mild, you may consider that. You can certainly disable the car. A friend of mine did that with their mother. They disabled it, took something out of the engine. I don't know much about car engines, so they disabled it, and said that it was going to cost several $1,000s to fix it. So obviously it was something that couldn't be done. So the car is just sitting there. They haven't sold the car yet. They haven't gotten rid of it. It's just sitting there. So, their mother knows that she has the car, but she can't fix it. So they can also relocate the car, move the car out of the driveway and put it in someone else's driveway or sell it. This would work well with somebody with the later stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. they won't see it, so they won't think about it, hopefully. And they won't be ruminating about, I need to drive, I need to drive. Of course, you want to definitely speak with their physician, let them know about your concerns about their driving so that they can note that in the medical records. The physician may be able to speak to them, and your senior loved one may listen to them more than they would listen to you, but it's certainly something that has to be you have to let the doctor know about what's going on and what you're seeing, because doctors only see that person for a few minutes every other month or so. So you want to keep them abreast of what you're seeing and what's going on. You also want to consult with an elder law attorney in your state. You want to find out what could happen if they did get into an accident. I mean, if they were in an accident, would they be liable? Would they, then lose their house, I mean, who knows? I don't know what the laws are in every state or country. So you want to check with that person and bring them with you just so that they can hear from this professional about what could happen. Now, you may want to have a discussion with the elder law attorney beforehand, to let them know why you're coming and you're bringing this person, and you want them to discuss because you're trying to get them to stop or drive less. You can certainly use little white lies, like I said, you're disabling the car, so you're saying it's not working anymore. You lost the keys, can't find the driver's license, the DMV, you have to make an appointment, but it's 4 months from now, whatever. Little white lies. I had a woman email me or text me on a video a while ago about how bad she felt about lying to her mother with dementia. But the reality is it's not really a lie because they are in their own world. And in order to speak to someone with dementia, you have to walk into their world because they cannot understand yours or our world anymore. It's not there for them. So you have to enter their world. So whatever they're thinking, however they're thinking, and whatever they're thinking about, you want to step into that. That's the best way to speak with them. So if they're talking about driving to the park that day and you haven't lived near that park for the last 30 years, you can certainly make up something and say, well, you know what, I read in the paper that it's going to rain in an hour, so I don't think that would be a good idea. But what do you think about going to get some ice cream or, whatever, something like that. Anything to distract them, but it's not really a lie. I mean, it is a lie, but you're entering their world, which basically is filled with memories and thoughts that are not real anymore for the majority of the time. So avoid arguing, avoid yelling, avoid trying to bring them back into reality. It just isn't there any longer. So, all right, those are the tips that I have to help you with someone that you love, that you care about, to help them from driving at all, or at least to cut it down. I think it's so important. It's so much nicer when they can recognize it themselves, of course, and stop on their own. But the reality is, so many people living in rural areas or suburban areas where mass transportation isn't something that is viable. I live in a suburban area and mass transportation is just not here. I can't walk to get a bus or a train. I have to drive 35 minutes just to get to the train station. So that's where Uber and Lyft and rideshare programs are so wonderful and have been so beneficial for me. So consider that. And I wish you a lot of luck. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any ideas or thoughts on anything that's worked for you and your family and your loved ones. I'd love to hear them and see what you have to say. All right. I think I forgot to say at the beginning, don't forget to subscribe, click on the like button, the bell. You know what to do if you're on YouTube quite a bit. So I hope these tips help you and your senior loved one. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see you next time.